So again, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Your new EP is coming out in a few days. How are you feeling? Stressed? Nervous? Excited?
No, I don't know. Apprehensive. Yeah, very. I'd say excited. I'm excited to see what people think, and I think that there's always nerves around releasing new music, isn't there? It's kind of how it's going to get perceived by the people that you want to hear it, and I think being a brand new band as well, obviously you want it to be heard by as many people as possible. So there's that kind of excitement, nervousness. Is it going to land on certain things, and is it going to be played to as many people as possible? But on the whole, I think all of us are very excited, and we just feel lucky enough that we can even be putting out music at the moment. So it's great. Yeah, really, really good.
Out of Home, as you said, is a fairly new band. Can you tell us a few things about how it came to be?
Yeah, so we launched terribly. We launched at the beginning of lockdown in 2020, which in hindsight was a terrible idea, but we didn't know this was going to happen. We literally put our first single out on February 14th, so Valentine's Day 2020, and then
about a month before lockdown.
Yeah, about a month later, everything went wrong. So that wasn't ideal. So yeah, we'd had a bunch of songs for like we were messing around with in 2019, and we've all been friends for years and played in and out of other bands. And we decided that the most logical thing to do was to try and create music together, because we've all been in and out of bands together, like I said, and it was kind of a no-brainer to try and do something together as a collective. And we did it, and we recorded the first EP, put out Slump, which was the first single, in February. Within the first week of that, we had a very good reception online, and we had Ven Records, like Lags at Ven, hit us up. A bunch of like radio and magazines and stuff in England hit us up, and it was going really good for the first month. I was thinking, wow, like this has been really easy. We put a song out, it's doing really well. A label wants to do the EP, and then obviously in true my unlucky fashion, everything just went wrong. But I can't be too mad. Like, I know it'd be way worse if we were in a position where this was our main source of income, and we relied on touring to kind of make a living. And I have many friends that do, so I feel blessed that we don't have to rely on that, and I feel sad for them, definitely.
And this new EP is coming less than a year after the first. Don't you think that the time between the two is very short? And why did you choose to release 2 EPs instead of a full length?
Well, I think we put the first EP out in the hopes that we could tour and play shows off of that EP. And obviously when that was not going to be an option, the next best thing we can do is start to write and go back into the studio. And I think for a band our size, if you're a small band, you just want to put out, I think you should be putting out as much music as possible and as much art as possible. And I think an album's really cool, and it's definitely something we're going to work towards. But I think being a new band, you want to write like 4 or 5 really good tracks and really focus on those tracks and put them out, instead of maybe having 3 or 4 focus tracks and then like 10 not so great tracks. I think it's good to just focus your energy on little bite-sized chunks of music. And then once we've got a fan base and hopefully we can tour, we can then do albums and all that shit.
I love how you're starting this with advice to other new bands.
Yeah, it's hard for new bands at the moment, like, because shows are our bread and butter. They're the things that like put you out to a wider audience, and you rely on them. And when that's taken away from you from no fault of your own, it's interesting to see how bands have coped and the little things they've done to stay connected to people and reach other people. I think it's been great to see, and people have had to be more creative, which is definitely a positive thing to come out of the whole coronavirus thing.
Actually, this is a great segue for my next question, because I was going to ask you about the inspiration behind the new songs, and what were the main challenges that you faced writing and recording during the pandemic?
So the influences kind of, they move on from the first EP. So the first EP was very, I'd say like it's a coming of age thing, and it's kind of observing all your friends kind of growing up and doing their own thing, and you feeling a bit stuck. And I think the second EP definitely touches on those feelings, but it's more of an internal reflection on what I'm doing or what people are doing to, either not get what they want or not be around the people they want to be around anymore. And yeah, if that makes sense. And as for writing, it was very different, because obviously the first EP, we were in a room and we were jamming the songs, yeah, which is great. And this time we had to do it over, there was little gaps where we could get in a room during like restrictions being lifted, but we mainly just tracked over the computer. So it would be me and Dan, our guitarist, would write songs and would send ideas to each other. I would sing like vocal ideas over his demos, send them to him, he'd send things back, and we just kind of crafted the songs around these little demos we'd send each other. And then in the summer of last year, we were able to get in a room, practice through them, and then go into the studio just before we went into another lockdown. So we missed not being able to record the EP by about that much, which was great.
That was very fortunate indeed.
Yeah, I think we've managed to do this thing every time we meet up as a band. So to shoot the videos of the singles that have just come out, every time we meet up, England goes into a lockdown about a week beforehand, like a week after, sorry. So we'll meet up and then the world will just shut down again for like a month. So we're trying not to meet up too much now in case it happens again. It might be our fault.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Just stay inside for everyone's sake.
It might be our fault.
And you did the videos yourselves. That's very impressive.
Yeah, so the first EP, all the videos were shot by us and made by us, and we had to teach ourselves how to do certain bits and stuff. And then the second EP, the videos were the sets. So have you seen the videos, like that pink room? We built all of that, and everything you see there, we built ourselves, and we had our friend Zach come in and shoot it on a nicer camera because he has really good equipment, which we don't have. So because we were shooting videos on our iPhones or like mobile phones before that. So our mate Zach came down and we did those videos and built the sets over like 3 days just before the lockdown again in England, which was great. It was so good to kind of get all of that done and be creative just before it gets taken away again. I think we definitely needed that. I
really like how your aesthetic is so bright and bold. It's not something that you usually see with DIY bands or bands with DIY roots. And how do people receive that? We haven't had much or any negative comments. I think people have picked up on it and they've said it's like definitely different and eye-catching. And I think my reasoning behind that, because I do the art and everything myself for the band. Like when I first started it, the songs were so obnoxious and the guitars were so like sickly sounding. I wanted the visuals to be just as like horrible, but in a nice way, if that makes any sense. So I wanted someone to look at it and just be like, oh my God, like what is that? Like just very sickly and over the top. And to try and create a weird world where the songs would fit in. And I think the only way I could think of doing that is just finding the most offensive colors. Oh, hello, cat. Most offensive colors possible. Sorry. That's okay. What's the cat's name? She doesn't have one, actually. That's even better. No name cat. Yeah, so so it was just trying to find colors that would suit the obnoxious music, and I think we just chose the brightest, disgusting, sickliest colors we could find and just threw them on everything. And it will definitely change. There was no real decision to do that. It just kind of went that way. So it won't be like that forever, for sure. Well, I think it's contrast on contrast on contrast, because you have the yellow and the pink, and then you have the Xerox-like imagery, which really suits the vintage sort of sound that some of your songs have. Yeah, I think if you like, I grew up on a lot of the like the East Bay punk stuff. Like obviously Green Day were a massive influence to me, like growing up and being given Dookie and Insomniac and all those CDs, and that kind of opened a whole world to like Operation Ivy and the Pansies and Rancid and all those kind of bands, and the Descendants, all those kind of bands. And yeah, I think that definitely shines through with our music and the way we write things. It's kind of hard not to when we're so heavily influenced by bands like that, but I think we put our own little spin on it, or at least take little bits from each band, so it's not just outright ripping one of them off. No, you don't. And great, that's good. It's really nice because it's fresh punk, but at the same time, it's not something that people will listen to and be like, oh, they sound like this new band,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
absolutely adore, because right now most punk bands or pop punk bands sound pretty much the same.
I know exactly what you mean. I don't. For me, like I'm not the biggest fan of pop punk at the moment. That whole world, I don't really get it, and I think they're all just trying to sound like each other, and it doesn't seem very original, very fresh. So we try to avoid sounding like that, and I don't think we will ever sound like that. It's just not what we want to do. It's not where we're going for, what we're aiming for. So I totally understand that. I think pop punk at the moment, or pop punk as it is now, whatever it is, yeah, everyone sounds the same, and it's not very original, and there needs to be like definitely a shake up in that world, and bands trying to do something a little bit different, or bringing different influences into that world. And there's a few like pop punk bands that bring in some sort of hardcore and more punkier influences, but I think as a whole at the moment, that's a very tedious genre to listen to. For me, anyway. I know millions of people like it.
No, actually, let's go back to the bands that influenced you. What are 5 albums that changed your life?
Oh, do you know what? I did an interview with a German magazine a couple of days ago, and they asked something very similar, and I sat at my computer for ages just thinking and staring. I think so Green Day Dookie changed my life. I got given that by my cousin when I was about 11, because I'm a little bit younger than when it was like released, obviously. I think I was born the year it was released, like 1994. But yeah, I got given that as like a hand-me-down when I was 11 from my cousin, because he kind of outgrew it or didn't want to listen to it anymore. I put it on, it blew my mind. Like I just didn't, never heard anything like it before. It was very catchy. It sounded like pop music, but it was angry and aggressive. And it was just, a spark went with me instantly. And I was just like, this is like, for me, this is exactly what I wanted to hear. So Dookie by Green Day, definitely. Such a hard question. I'll say Iowa by Slipknot, because that kind of opened my world into the heavier, more angsty metal as a teenager. That's what I wanted to hear when I was about 14, 15. So yeah, Dookie, Green Day, Iowa, Slipknot. I'll say Nevermind by Nirvana. Obviously, that's a mad influence, and I think it has to be on anyone's. The music we're playing, you're not gonna get away with not listening to that, because it's kind of a classic. In more recent years, and this is not an influence on this band personally, but Nightmare Logic by Power Trip really grabbed my attention. I heard like the first, like, I don't know, 20 seconds of like the intro track, and I was like hooked. I love that band so much. They're such a great band. And I was lucky enough to see them live a couple summers ago. And it was great. They're an incredible band, and I think what's happened to them sucks. And I really hope they continue doing what they do if they find the right replacement, because Riley was obviously fantastic. So I'm at 3 now. No, 4. 4. And the 5th one.
You're doing great. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking about what albums I listen to a lot of, or there's so many great ones. And I'm gonna say another curveball, Parting the Sea Between Brightness and Me by Touche Amore. I think that's I love that band. I have the flag here, like the Touche Amore flag. You have one as well, I've just seen, yeah. Lyrically and musically, that opened a whole world to like the more melodic hardcore side of things, and that kind of made me discover Defeater, Pianos Become the Teeth, Joyce Manor, all those kind of bands. So that record plays a big part in my life.
How did the collaboration with Ven Records come about?
It was so easy, and I thought it was a joke. It was just over Instagram. So we put out Slump in February, and I was on my way to a show, and I saw this message click up on my phone, and it said Ven Records followed you, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's really cool. And then like a second later, it was like Ven Records has messaged you, and I was like, oh my god. And I was screenshotting it and sending it to like the guys, being like, Ven Records likes our song, like they want to hear the rest of the music. And Lags was just like, yo, send me the rest of the tracks, and I want to hear them. So I did, and he really liked them, and that was it. I jumped on the phone with him, I think the week after, and we all met up just before lockdown. We all went for a drink, and then yeah, it was just agreed we'd work with each other, and the rest is history. It was great. Like, I absolutely love Lags. I love Ven Records, and they've always been a label I've kind of had my eye on and have been a fan of, but never in a million years did I think they'd be interested in the world's smallest band that haven't even played a show. So it's very, very cool.
It is, and dreams come true, apparently.
Apparently.
What is passion for you? How do you define it?
Passion. Oh, that's such an open. Oh, again, I think whatever drives you and moves you to feel and be a better person is passion. Whether that's creativity, whether that's a passion to help others, a passion to teach, a passion to just a passion to be alive and love and all that stuff. I think it's very case by case specific, but it's something that keeps you going. That's what passion is. It's a life force, and we all need one. Otherwise, what's the point?
That is very true, actually.
I'm glad you agree.
At some point, I will just collect all those answers about what people think passion is, and I'm gonna turn them into, I don't know, a book or a calendar.
Yeah, or like you could put it on a like voice notes and have it as like a continuous loop of just. And I think if you listen to it, you'd be so positive afterwards. You'd be like the happiest person in the world. Could be like a positive mental attitude soundbite that you just listen to over and over again when you're feeling down.
You're so getting royalties out of this.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take my 20%.
You guys chose to create and release new art while the world is at a critical point. Was it a cathartic move and something that you did for your own well-being, or something that you did for people who may be going through hard things?
I think I don't know. I think it's a bit of both, really. I think originally it was definitely more of a selfish thing where we, like everyone in this band loves to create, and would be with or without a platform like Ven or anything, we would have done the same thing. We would have carried on creating, and we would have still put out the same art as we planned to do. So I think it was a case of us doing it because we had nothing else to do, and we would have gone mental if we didn't have anything to create or to get our teeth into. And once we started putting things out and we could see people liked it and there was a small kind of buzz online, it definitely drove us to keep creating things and putting art out. But I don't think we would ever necessarily make art for other people apart from ourselves. It's just something we want to do and we like to do. And even if we were the biggest band in the world or remained the same size for forever, we're still going to want to put out the highest quality art that we think is like what we like, if that makes sense.
It does.
Great.
How important is social media for a small band?
It's so important, but I hate it so much. I cannot stand it. If I say this all the time to all my friends and family, if I wasn't in a band or I didn't rely on it for my job, I would literally just fuck it off. I hate it so much. I have no connection to it. I hate how it breeds this narcissistic fast food human culture, which just rubs me up the wrong way. And again, this is something else I could speak about for hours. I don't like it personally, but for a new band, it's so important to be on there and staying on people's radars, and it's exhausting all at the same time. But it's definitely important. I think bands should use it, but I don't think they should abuse it and become obsessed and fixate too much on the numbers, because in reality it doesn't really mean shit. Like once you play shows and people turn up to your shows, it's not going to fucking matter what you're putting online.
Moving on to some more serious and more difficult questions.
Oh god. Okay.
If Out of Love were members of the Spice Girls, what would be your Spice names?
Okay. I think I'd be let's go. Let's not start with me. Let's not be selfish. Donny, our drummer, he'd be Manly Spice, because he is the guy in the band that if I need anything fixing, if someone's car's broken, if like my fucking house blows down, he'll be there building it brick by brick with his bare hands, and he won't let anyone else do it because he will do a really good job.
So he's a dad.
He's he's just a fucking man. I look at him and think like he's like everything I should be, but I'm just not masculine enough. So he's great. Like he's such a dude. So he'd be manly Spice. Ricky would be he'd be like cute Spice or something sweet, something like that. He's very short, very Ricky gets on with everyone. He's probably the most, or maybe social Spice. He'd be social Spice because he's very good at speaking to people. He's super friendly, very approachable, very small, sweet guy, and will talk to anyone for hours. There's been times where I used to play in a band with him, and we'd be on tour, and we'd go on stage, and I'd be like, "Where the fuck is Ricky? Like, where's he gone? Where's he gone?" You'd look over, and he'd be at the bar with like a complete stranger, just talking to them, and there'd be like a room full of people, and I'd be on stage like, "Ricky, like, come on, but like we're playing," and he'd be like, "Oh, sorry," and yeah, he's just too friendly for his own good. So he'd be social Spice or friendly Spice or something. I think Dan. Oh man, Dan. This is fun. This is good. Dan would be. I don't know, perfectionist Spice, or like someone that's very, very articulate and very. He's a perfectionist. Dan. He kills everything he does. So Dan is the guy that will like do all the demos for us, and he writes the songs with me. And when I write a song, I kind of play a few power chords, get like a melody in my head, and I think like I can hear how it's going to sound, and I don't really care about the smaller details. I'm just like, oh, this is cool. We'll take it into the studio. I know it's going to sound great, but Dan will like tell me off and fine tune it and be like, this is exactly how it's going to sound, and he kind of takes the ideas and turns it into something incredible. So he'd definitely be like perfectionist Spice or clever Spice. He's the one that thinks about things probably a little bit more than everyone else. I could give everyone horrible names, but I'm trying to give people nice names. Kev would be handsome Spice, or like he's very handsome man. Kev. He's our other guitarist. He's just super handsome, and he's a teacher as well, so he's knowledgeable. He's like the whole package. And me, I think I'd be moany Spice. I moan a lot. Moany, or like long Spice. I'm like nearly 2 meters tall. I don't know. I don't really know. Something like that. Probably moany. I moan and bitch about stupid shit all the time. I'm always complaining about something.
Oh, come on. You give everyone a nice name. Or maybe something nice about yourself.
Yeah, maybe creative Spice. Art Spice. Yeah, I do all the art. I'll call myself Art Spice. I'm the I do all the creative shit. I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
If your life had a soundtrack other than your band, what would it be?
Just a big storm cloud. No. Other than my band, what would the soundtrack be? Like a soundtrack. I feel like right now it'd be a soundtrack to like some sort of disaster movie. Just lots of screaming and fire and people dying, something like that, something horrible at the moment. Yeah.
Wow, you really are an optimist, aren't you?
Oh, I'm the biggest optimist you'll ever meet.
I can't tell if you're actually joking right now or if you mean it. Sorry, no.
Oh no, that's my thing. No, I don't know. I think it's very hard to get me excited about things. I'm very I don't believe anything until it's right in front of my face. That's how I would describe my personality.
If you could have a 1-minute phone conversation with a younger you, what age would you call and what would you tell yourself?
I would call myself at age 9 and tell myself to stop listening to fucking Shaggy and listen to Dookie now. That's what I would do. And I'd tell him to chill out. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Your
house is on fire and you only have time to grab 3 items before you leave. Pets and family are safe. What do you take?
Pets and family are safe. Okay, wicked. I would grab my acoustic guitar. I would grab some sick coat, a nice coat to look nice. Also go and watch my house burn down. And I would grab probably my laptop so I can do art whilst it burns. Yeah.
Would you take shoes?
Nah, fuck it. My feet are fucked anyway. I'll stand on the stones.
We are done for today.
Wicked.
Thank you for taking the time to do this.
No worries. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
100%. Once shows are a thing again, we'll hang out for sure.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.